My mic's not set. Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. Today we are working on the stage loading optimizations, right where we left off. Okay, so yeah, my mic is just in a weird spot right now. Yesterday we were in the middle of working on the first section of the stage loader standalone app. So we're basically creating a standalone application that is going to read in all of the tile data and do all of the pre-processing work required that we're currently doing on the loading screen when we try to load a stage. Obviously, loading each stage and doing all of this every single time is kind of a waste, especially if you have to go into very large levels where there's a lot of data to process. So our goal is to turn all of the pre-processing loading into a finalized product that we can then read back into our game to just load it in that way. So let's continue right where we left off. We're currently working on fixing the errors. Basically, any parts that really relied on like the internals of the game, we're getting rid of. And we're replacing them with just things that make sense. So yeah, we've got a lot to work through, but obviously we're going to take it one step at a time. And hopefully by the end of today, we're going to get pretty close to loading at least some of the maps that we need to, the map data that we need. And we get a general idea of what this is all going to look like in the end, right? Also, let me just update this real quick. There we go. Cool. Okay, so let's get back into what we were doing. We're in the middle of writing a standard format for a tile set. We're basically grabbing the location of a tile set from its source. So right here, we're backing up by 2 directories, because if we look at how this works, we see here that the source, the source originally comes with a ... /maps relative to wherever we are. So if we do from our working directory, let's take a look at our working directory real quick. So our working directory is wherever our executable gets dumped when we build it, which is typically in here. It's either this or the release folder, and we have to back up 1, 2, so we're back in the Adventures in Lestoria directory. Then we're going to do source. So right now it says ... /maps. So we're going to go Adventures in Lestoria assets, right? Adventures in Lestoria. And see, even looking at this, the assets / maps thing is not right either. So we gotta fix that as well. And I guess that's where we left off, because we can see here we have like the source directory. Oh, and the tileset file name, I see. So we usually do assets / maps plus tileset file name, but we also need the base name of where we're starting off, which we do have to change. So let's get that going, because there's quite a bit to do here, and yeah, figuring out the new directory is a little more complicated if we're just running this from scratch, essentially. So yeah, let's back out. This is the baster, as I'm gonna call it, and it starts off by going back 2 directories. Okay. And then we go Adventures space in Lestoria, which we included there. And then from there we go into assets. So we're getting close to where we were in here. In fact, I think we can now copy this and just place it there. Like so. And then finally, the plus tileset file name, which is going to be this one. Okay. So for the most part, I think we should be good, because what we've done here for tileset file name is we've extracted the base name by finding the last slash and then grabbing everything after it, so that's just the tileset name. So we go into slash assets, slash maps, yeah, and then all the TSX files that they're referring to are located inside of here. So now, if we ever want to reference where these come from, we just say base dir, which is going to include the tileset file name as a whole. So all these that have this right now, replace it with base dir. And we currently have a log output function. I think we'll just get rid of that because that's just debugging. We don't really care too much about that. And then tileset here was supposed to be reading in the TSX parser of whatever base dir was. So we're going to pass that in. It's going to read our tileset. And then from there, it looks like we're supposed to have some kind of like copy. I don't know what art is supposed to be. There's no context given here. So let's take a look at where we originally got this from. We got it from Adventures in Listoria Load Tilesets. We can see here that R was originally a renderable. So the tileset value is actually going to be invalid for this now. So I'm just going to get rid of it from tileset data. We don't really need that member in our function anymore. And then down here, under collision, do we even care? Well, this is a safe unordered map, so we're just going to get rid of that because that function doesn't exist, but effectively it performs like an unordered map to begin with. We don't care about loading images, so we can get rid of these two. They just have to do with our asset game pack. And all of this is supposed to be to draw a mini map. So we can get rid of all of this too. We don't need any of this at all. I was thinking if we should like pre-render the mini-maps and stuff, but that's pretty cheap. It's just manipulating some pixels on a texture and then uploading that texture to the GPU. This in turn is not very hard to do, so this is the initial data we need for load tilesets. It just brings all of the tilesets into map_tilesets. So now we can expect that after a call to load tilesets, this will be populated, and it will keep populating as we load up more files. Now there is more to do up here, but yeah, that should be good. We're gonna move up to here real quick. Set up foreground fade groups. So this is where the bulk of the loading stuff starts happening. But again, before we even do that, I'm actually going to comment this out. And I believe, unless I'm mistaken, if I comment it out... okay, it looks like I was mistaken. I think in the release build, because this function's now required, it'll probably be optimized out. But I need to see in debug because I don't want the actual variable to get optimized out by chance. So I'm just going to get rid of those temporarily so we can take a look and make sure load tilesets is doing what we would expect. So I'm just going to do, yeah, that real quick. And it looks like we do have an error. Format is being called somewhere without the proper values inside line 18. Oh, there's an error. Failed to load map, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Tile height, tile width, those are integers. We have tileset file name. I think this should be replaced with base dir. And we have map. Now map is a TMX parser which doesn't really have an output. It's supposed to be the map name. And the map name we're not really passing in. So I'm actually just going to get rid of that. Okay. Because all it's checking is for 0 values, so we don't really care about... The map name was just a convenience. So we're gonna hit our breakpoint, hopefully. Or we don't. I don't know if it ran the wrong... Did it run the wrong project? No. Build? One is up to date. Why is it not running? Or maybe it did run? Okay, it did run, but we had an unhandled exception. Okay, so we're right here. We're trying to load map. What is this? Adventures in Listoria Assets Campaigns 1_4.tmx. And that's failing. So we go // adventures space in space Listoria / assets / campaigns. Well, let's see, the TMX parser got populated. So it read that correctly. So it's just whatever was happening in here failed. So let's look inside here again. Baster is... We have a // maps, so it goes out of maps and back into maps / decorations. Oh, there's another slash at the end of this. That's strange. Why does it do that? Did I mess that up? I don't think so. Like, looking at this, right? There's no / here, so that can't be it. Okay. Yeah, it says the tileset file name was decorations _C1_ no shadow. It got everything right up till here, and then it added a / at the end. It actually added a / quotation mark. Is that a bug? That's really strange, right? /marker source directory is character 7 inside of source. So character 7, you can actually look at it from here too. So this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which looks correct. That is the position of the slash. You add 1, so it's 1 off. And that's where it starts until the end of the string. So somehow there is a /. So it's like reading this for some reason. Am I missing like a -1? I have a feeling there used to be a -1 there. That's the only way that's possible. That's weird. Because if we add 1 here and read to the end... Or no, it has to be our parser that's messing this up. Like maybe there was a bug in the parser to begin with. I'm just going to run this one more time. So looking at the tag again, right? Yeah, it's got to be the parser because it comes from the tag and the tag has done this. So that's a bug in the reader, which that's surprising. That should not be happening. It must be an old bug I never detected. Oh boy. Okay, so why would that happen? Let's find out. Clearly it has to be inside of parse tag. And this is where the tag parsing occurs. Strip quotation marks. So it first finds an equal sign, and then it adds +1 to it. So like for example, this would be the equal sign. That's the character. And so it would start from that quotation mark. And then the substring call is a 1. So the 1 means it also skips another character from that cursor. And then it's going to read value $length -1. But we have to recall that the value is everything up to from here +1 to standard string end pause. So did we originally strip everything from here? I don't even know. It looks like it's just... I guess we could try reading from here and see what happens. Visual Studio. Yeah, I use Visual Studio. And VS Code. Although I don't use VS Code for the actual programming, I just use it to as a text editor, essentially. I don't know how we only get up to here. That must be done before this. So if we're in parse tag, let's go back to parse tag. Oh, so it looks for a less than symbol. So it goes all the way out to here. And it's like, okay. That means we parse that tag from the accumulator. Accumulator is everything from here to there. I guess we should actually run this and see if we can get it live. So the first thing I'm going to do is get to the point of load tilesets. I guess the line right above here where the parser occurs. And we'll try and see what we can get, because it's not very far into the file, so this is going to be campaign 4, right? Yes. So I'm going to enter it and go to parse tag. And I think we're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It might be either the 7th or 8th call to parse tilesets. It looks like it just goes until it finds a less than sign, so it's going to be a couple of times. But we can look at the accumulator value to keep an eye on which line it is. And I'm just looking for that tile set. Here we go. So this is the line. And then let's breakpoint into right here where we're trying to figure out what's going on, right? So let's execute those two lines. Key is first GID. Okay, we don't care about first GID, so we'll go to the next one. Key is source, and here's the value. So it's like I imagined. It includes that extra forward slash at the end because it parses all the way to this less than sign. So it's everything highlighted here that is currently in there, including the quotation marks. So then the next two lines are supposed to strip them, starting from 1, which is the line or the position after the quotation mark. That gets rid of the first one. So value is now like that. And then the second, it does 0. So here to value.length -1. So interestingly enough, that doesn't work for this line, or I would argue any of these lines. So I think I have a theory. It can be either or. If the line ends with a slash and a less greater than sign, then yeah, we don't need either. But it can also just end with a greater than sign. So we have to check for both. Two ways we can accomplish this. I think I already accomplished it in my actual TMX parser in Adventures in Listoria, otherwise we would have a lot of bugs right now. So let's see what I did in there. And we'll just probably do the same thing, honestly. So let's look at parse tag. And it looks like... So all this remained the same, so maybe the original reading got changed. Oh, I see what we did. We did change how we read it. So in comparison to here, where originally we... Where is the quotation mark reading? So originally there was no quotation mark reading. We just said, okay, read until we find whatever. So realistically, I should just take a parse tag and copy paste all this into there. There's also read next tag, which I think is my... I just condensed everything even further, so XML tag is now equal to read next tag instead of right now. I am lost. Oh, and... Parse... Excuse me. Parse tag. Whereas in here, we don't actually... Where's this plate? Okay. It would be inserted... Again, we could just replace this as a whole up to here. read next tag, and then new tag equals read next tag. Migrate to NVim, you get cool street cred. I would, but then I have to learn how to use it, so that would probably take at least a day or two. Also, isn't NVim on Linux? I don't actually have... Well, I do have a Linux workstation, but I don't think I'm migrating programming environments right now. That's not part of the plan. So I'm just gonna say new tag is read next tag. And I think that's all we have to do because we've already written this before, so that should be no problem. I do have to get rid of these debug log things because we don't have them in this project. So yeah, the change is that it actually counts the quotation marks and says, okay, you're actually good now. This is a full tag, which is the only difference, I believe. So let's just run it again and see if it is fine now. So now the tileset file name is actually parsed correctly. Ta-da! So that makes the next part easy, at least I hope it is. And the program no longer crashes. I think it's still running. Oh. There's a lot of unsupported tag format messages, which is interesting. Is there really this much? I was not expecting that, but yes, it did do every single file, also outputting unsupported tag format a million times. So, why does it do that? Oh, I see. If there was nothing for it to actually read, if it's not recognized. Most of the time, the newer maps have a bunch of extra fancy stuff. I don't know if I want to leave that in. I guess I'll just leave it in, but yeah. So moving right along, let me bring back the other functions now. Our goal literally was to just test that this was fine. And it is. Okay. So I lost clipboard, but I just undid to get it back. Alright, so now we're back here. Now we're actually going to try to do some processing. So this will be fun. Let's see. First, these are going to have like a data. Okay, tileset is an image, so anything related to images is not going to apply. So this is interesting. It's the entire tile sheet width and height, which we actually don't know because I don't think that's saved in a TSX file. I think you have to actually read the image. No, actually it does save the image data, width and height, inside of here. So we can grab that information. It's under the image tag. Now the question is, did we already capture that? Is it anything special? So TSX parser. It looks like it has image width and image height here. Why are we just not using that? That's kind of weird, right? Why are we not just using that member to begin with? Maybe it wasn't accurate or something? I found it wasn't... There's got to be a reason, right? But yeah, tileset data. Wait. How do we not have access to tileset data? Shouldn't that have... I'm just a little confused by this type right here. Tileset data. Oh, I see. We copy over some information when we first load. I wonder why we do this. Why don't we just use the actual tileset data directly? But I guess this is where we would store it. So we can add 2 here. I guess originally we did have image width and image height as members, but I never populated them, so they're just kind of there. Tileset data. So this is still not what I was thinking of. It's kind of weird. It's like we have a duplicate structure here, and I don't like that. I don't know why it's done like that. But this is inside of tsxparser.h, so... Is this a different TSX parser? This is map preloader. This is, oh, Adventures in Lestoria. So I see now, these didn't exist before, I added them later. Okay. That's very fair. So I do have to parse them myself, which is fine, I can do that. So tileset has a width and height, and the tileset data has a width and height. Like, my question is, why are these duplicated, right? Is there a reason for that? What is the reason for changing it up here? So, when a tileset sheet gets read in, the parsed tileset info gets stored in a tileset class. So we generate a new tileset class each time. The tileset class itself is this. So why are we not just accessing this? There must be something weird we're doing here. Also, I don't need that. Plasticky, please. Also, hi Plasticky. I'm not playing ITG right now. You silly. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Yeah, this isn't ITG. Because we're programming today. So in TSX parser we have get data. So why are we not just storing the TSX parser instances? That's what I'm confused about, right? Let's restructure this while we're at it, because that makes more sense to me. If these two are duplicated, just store this inside of map tilesets. That makes way more sense to me. Change this to a TSX parser. And then get rid of the extra class. I feel like this was, like, when I designed this, I probably just wasn't thinking right. It could be ITG, but it's not. Sorry. Okay, so instead, we just store this directly. We just say map underscore tilesets dot, and we could even go as far as just doing an insert right away. The insert is the base directory, comma, and followed by a new initialized tileset. So we can just say directly in here, it's a new TSX parser, like so, and do that. That should work fine. Oh, and this needs to be a pair. Cool. And then we access it this way. We can even go, I think it also returns it. Yeah, so it returns the pair afterward. So we can do an auto, and we'll just do our, I forget what this is called. It's like, there's a name for it. I think it's like destructuring or something. Key, and I guess tileset. I don't think that's valid syntax though. I apparently... Oh, you know what? This might be a pair with the second value being the actual value. Let me double check. Standard unordered map insert. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. It returns the iterator and a boolean. Okay, so it returns an iterator. A pair consisting of an iterator to the inserted element, so we have to reference the dot first element if it's an iterator, which gives us the pair, which is a key tile set. And then from there, we can change all this to be tile set. But we don't have to do any of this anymore, do we? Because essentially we've already done it. It's all data that's stored, so what are we doing here at this point? Why do we need map path? We don't need any of this anymore, right? It's like essentially we're just inserting it to the map and populating it, and that's the end of the story. I guess. That's what our code has turned into. So now we're back up here, and we're saying, okay, instead of accessing this, now we can just say image width and image height. Now, I think there's also the assumption that we've populated it. I don't think we've populated it yet, so we still have to do that. Image width and image height. So we're looking for the image tag, and oh, we did populate it. It's just unused right now. And it wasn't in that structure before, which is probably why the whole confusing part of all this was that. I'm going to take this and simplify it. I'm going to say const tile, well, it's a TSX parser. No, actually, it's, what would this be? Tile sheet data? Well, that's what this is for, right? Get tile sheet? Or do we delete this? No. I don't know what this is. Okay. So we need the data now. The data is, I think, just a XML tag thing. Or no, it's the tile set. Okay. So we're gonna replace this with const tile set data. And just call that. That way we have an easy way to reference it instead of typing all that every single time. We got image width. And then keep going here. So this is where the fun begins. So tile group checks requires a standard queue. Include queue. There's no, like, unordered queue, right? What is a queue? A queue is like a first in, first out? I want to say that's what it is. I don't think an unordered queue makes sense because it's not sorted. It's just literally the... Well, it has to be ordered. That's the whole point of a queue, right? So... Okay, down here... So we had a get current map data lambda, I guess? Okay. And the map data apparently had a width and a height member before, but it doesn't now. So that must mean get current map data originally returned like a different XML tag with that extra information. So this must be in tiles. This is like how many tiles wide and high the map is. So instead of doing this, well, we need that information. I guess that information is stored somewhere. Let's look at TMX files. It should be right here. Yep. So this is how many tiles wide and high a map is. It's under the map tag. Let's see if that's stored right now. There's map data equals new tag. So we have to reference map data and pull it from there manually. I think that's why we had trouble before. It's like, let's change get current map data to just return... Oh, it does. So it returns an XML tag. All we have to do now is say get int width. So it's just a little different because we haven't made an actual class that specifically does this for us. Like, we haven't abstracted it out really, so we're just accessing it like that. And then down here, we're iterating through our level layer data of our current level. And our current level is actually the map we're currently working on. So we're just going to supply that information there. And .layer data is not a thing. I believe it's got get data, .layer data. Cool. So then we're down here, get tile sheet on current level. Again, current level is our map. But I think it's gonna ask for it in... Oh, it requires a TMX parser. Yes. And we just wrote that get tile sheet function, so we should be good there. Tile sheet width, tile sheet height. Again, it's the same thing. We already have it. So we just change this to be tile sheet dot image width. Oh, we have to do the same thing as before. We need the tile set data right here. And then tile set data dot image width. And one thing about this code down here is it uses the same variable names just redeclared in an inner scope. So even though they're the same variable names, we have to realize that this is... Oh no, this isn't a lambda. Never mind. We kind of like simplified it in here so it was less confusing. Basically, it's like, okay, put in a function so we know how to work with it on a larger level. I remember we did this one day because we were so confused why we were calling the same things over and over. We're like, okay, just make lambdas out of it so we can understand the bigger picture here with higher level function calls. So that saves us quite a bit of time in understanding, and then if we want to dive into the implementation details, we have that capability. So tile render data, this one I always forget. It's tile sheet pause, tile ID, layer ID. I am almost tempted to just insert them in here while we're at it, because I want to know what these are. So we're actually going to use the dot syntax to construct this struct. I think it's a colon, actually. Is that right? Or is it? No, it has to be an equal sign. There's no way it's a colon. But this doesn't like it. Oh, it has a constructor. Well, why aren't we using a constructor, right? Or are we? Oh, we are. It's just, so typically if I'm calling the constructor, I just do that. So that's just misleading then. Okay. So current map data is map.getData .tile width. So again, we have to do... Don't we actually have that lambda still? Get current map data? Yeah. I don't know why I changed routes at some point and did it differently. It must just be like old code inconsistencies. Let's be real. Also, I forgot. Was this the width? Yes. They both use the tile width. I think the theory was all tiles have to be square. So even though it says tile width again after this... Oh, it's just width. It doesn't matter because we made an assumption that all tiles in the game would be square. But in theory, they might not be. It's just an assumption. Or these are actual positions. Okay, never mind. So that makes more sense. We're just multiplying by width instead of width comma height because, well, we're still assuming they're square, so taking the width or the height doesn't matter. We can't have rectangular grids. Okay, so far so good. Then we do the same thing down here. Get integer width and get integer height. So as I'm writing this now, I'm starting to think in my head, what are we going to do about like serializing this data so we can read it into our game, right? Because that's going to be the next step. Is, okay, so we have all this data inside of structures. How do we extract that data and turn it into files? You know what I was also thinking? instead of writing this program, why can't we just make a mode in our current game to do all the loading stages, pre-cache them, and if we can't find like preloading files or whatever, then we generate it ourselves? Would that be smarter design rather than one, putting it in a separate program, and two, rewriting all this code? Considering we have to make so many changes and do this, there's like a couple things we have to do. I'm starting to think that's smarter. We already have all the data and we're loading it in. Let's just transform it into a file and do all the logic for it there at the same time. I'm starting to like the idea more. Before we get too much farther into it, let's experiment with that idea. So I'm gonna close out all the map preloader stuff real quick, and we're gonna go back to our main game for a minute. So, oh, I hope I didn't mess up. Okay, maybe it's just IntelliSense catching up. I'm like, I hope I didn't adjust anything in my main game file by mistake. We can check Git real quick. Nah, everything was map preloader minus map.h in Adventures in Lestoria, which... oh, wait, that's actually required. Oh, that's why IntelliSense was complaining. I'm gonna undo that change, because that's actually required. So, I wasn't paying attention, and I modified the actual game file. I guess that's the danger of keeping more than one project in one solution, is you run the danger of it being messed up. Why is health potion modified? That's weird. I wanted... that is very weird. Why is health potion modified? I'm gonna open GIMP real quick. I think it's already open. Hello? GIMP? You wanna open? No? Why is GIMP not opening? Is GIMP like... oh, wow, that took a very long time to just pop up the splash screen. That's crazy. Okay. So apparently this health potion inside of my game is modified, so I need to find out why, because that could actually matter. And if so, I'm just gonna undo it. I think it might have been when I was manipulating, like, copying over assets, because I was working on, like, Twitch stuff earlier, so... it doesn't look modified in the sense of, like, anything's changed here. I'm just gonna undo it then, because I'm uncertain what changed, and I don't really care for that. Okay, so we're gonna go with this idea that we're just going to do all the pre-caching stuff with the current code we have and just say, okay, save all the data somewhere, and if the file exists, use that data next time. Unless we forcefully reload it. So this is gonna be map preloader progress. It's very vague, but that's literally all we did. We were correcting like code errors, so it's just progress. It wasn't even like doing anything yet. So our next thing, let's go to our loading stages again. I think it would help to bring up, I think it's called prepare level. Let's bring up a second copy of this. And just, I'm gonna have 2 views, because we're probably gonna need it in a minute here. And so let's start with the original thing we were going to do here. And this might actually be flexible enough that we can store other data without having to rewrite a whole bunch of stuff first. So let's say I'm actually gonna go ahead and run our game real quick, and what I want to do is... oh. Uh-oh. Tausa file name is now a member of Tausa tag. Did I actually mess things up? I feel like I messed things up. Okay. If it can't find certain things, it means I deleted stuff probably by accident when I should not have. Oh, this is map preloader. It's trying to reference... Oh, we're still in the wrong project, that's why. Okay, this makes more sense. So go back to Adventures in Lestoria. Hit build. Okay, we're trying to build our other project, which wasn't done, so errors. Looks like it has to do a full rebuild, so... But the idea is, whatever this outputs, like structure-wise, we're going to examine it and then decide, okay, what does a file format that saves this data looks like? That's our next objective. Then we're going to take all of the data inside of there and... Ooh. Is my computer okay? Whoa. Whoa. Compiler is out of heap space. Okay. Oh. I understand. My hard drive is out of disk space. That's concerning. That's actually wild. I wonder if I have to restart OBS now. Oh, shoot. I mean, it says it's still streaming, so I don't think we have a problem. I'm like everything just gave up, and I'm like, oh, my disk is kind of out of hard drive space. That's very concerning. Yeah, give me a minute here. We're gonna have to restart these things. It's all messed up now.